In our living room, there was meditation. Needless to say, I wanted no friends in my home.
Wednesdays were out.
She turned us vegetarian. She turned us into a garden in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
We all want to know the secrets to radiant skin and a long, healthy life. But what if those secrets lie in our nutrition, our daily nutrition, and some of our skincare routines, our daily habits? Today's guest, Lauren Radshap, is a third-generation health practitioner with over 20 years of experience. She's a certified clinical nutritionist, yoga instructor, and founder of Lauren Living Healthy, offering nutritional diagnostics and coaching, medicinal meal delivery, healthy private chef placement, and more. Her book, Vibrant Skin at Any Age, dives into the gut-skin connection and practical tips for glowing skin. Welcome, Lauren.
Thank you so much for having me, gentlemen, doctors.
Welcome. We're so happy to have you. You know, it's interesting. She just walked in, and the first thing she did is she grabbed one of our water bottles, that had the logo on it.
Yes.
And she goes, plastic.
Plastic is, I know.
You know, what's so beautiful about that is you are so authentic, and I've known you, so I know that from within. But you're so authentic that immediately when she sees it, she picks it out, and she looked at me, she goes, this isn't good for you. So we're very excited for you to be on the show. We're very excited for you to educate our listeners and us. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
Let's kind of go into the history of how you started along this journey. I mean, with the ever increasing popularity of wellness, longevity, anti-aging, things like that, you've got quite a bit of experience. And tell me, where did it all start?
Well, I'm definitely an old timer. I was in this business before it was remotely
And for
popular.
those of you who can't see, she looks phenomenal.
Yes.
So
Truly, I have really been blessed with the DNA of my mother and my grandmother. But my grandmother was one of the first yoga teachers in the Midwest.
Oh, wow.
And she spent, after my grandfather died, she went to India on and off for 16 years, where she became a yoga instructor. So every Wednesday night, in our living room, there was meditation. Needless to say, I wanted no friends in my home.
Wednesdays were out.
She turned us vegetarian. She turned us into a garden in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where we have this much nice weather. Mm-hmm. And that's from maybe June, actually from May to June. Mm. And it was actually something I rebelled against. It's not my first career. I started off in the Hollywood scenario, not in front of the camera, but behind. I decided, though, once I had children, life changes, and I knew I didn't want to be on the road. I knew I didn't want to work on the film crew. It's very toxic. So I went back to school. And at the time, I realized that there really wasn't anything that was remotely comprehensive in the world of nutrition. It was the standard food pyramid diet, which never made sense to me. And my mother was a early on breast cancer patient and survivor. She lived until last year when she died at the ripe old age of 95. Wow, she had a radical mastectomy, and which left her very disfigured. Mm-hmm. And during that process, we discovered fruits, vegetables, and juicing. And we kind of got into this bandwagon of kind of hippiedom. I was sprouting and growing and juicing. It was just ridiculous. But it really kind of set a path for me, which I went on and off based on the fact that I like to live, I like to eat good food, I don't like to restrict, and I think restriction can be problematic. And it wasn't until I faced my own serious health crisis that I just said, okay, enough is enough. I have to really dedicate myself to this. And without going into those details, I do on some podcasts. I don't know if I can do it today because I don't want to get off on a tangent. I basically cured myself from Hashimoto's thyroiditis. I have a seizure disorder. Here I go. You guys, bring it on me.
Yeah, we need to know.
Yes, I have a seizure disorder that was primarily dehydration and hormonal and stress. So I just went full force. I try not to be too extreme, but what I did notice is what was affecting me most was my environment. I got the food piece. I've been doing that. I had a short stint at the Cordon Bleu in Paris when I was in my 20s and with my first marriage. And I ended up bringing kind of my culinary skills into my practice here. I absolutely believe that how we live, okay, here we are under all these lights and all the electronics, I can actually, if I pick up my phone, and your sister will tell you, I have a protective case, I'm sure she does too. I feel electromagnetic frequencies. When there's a lot of lights, it just overtaxes my system. So
turn off the lights.
Yeah.
So part of my practice, which I thought would be one of the questions you would ask me, is I approach nutrition more from a wellness perspective and balancing our nervous system.
Walk us through the path of, becoming a patient and looking at a wellness program. Where do you start?
Yes.
Let's say I'm coming to you and
Okay.
you're going to put me on a wellness program.
Okay. So I love to look at labs. I'm very into science. I am not just holistic. I believe that allopathic needs to be married to naturopathic. I don't think one can exist without the other. And if you were to come into my practice, I would first say, Raymond, I need all your labs. And you'd send me labs. I say, wait a second. I don't see some of the more individualized markers because the standard labs, as we know, are just so incomplete.
Yes.
So I like things like a full metabolic panel, a full thyroid panel. I like to see ApoB. I like to see ApoE. I like to see C-reactive protein, hemoglobin A1C. I like to see other markers such as your fasting glucose. I want to see if you're metabolically healthy. And I, though, can look at you on an energetic level. I know that I don't want to sound crazy and wackadoodle, but I can tell you kind of where your areas are without even looking at your labs. Do you want to hear?
Yes, yes, exactly.
You're like, you eat too much.
Yeah. Me next.
No, I've had some of the food at your sister's house. It's amazing. She's a great chef. But without kind of getting into that, I would look at your labs, but I'd first look at what your circadian rhythm is. What do you do the first thing in the morning and the last thing? How are you producing cortisol throughout the day? Because cortisol we need in the morning, it's kind of our vim and vigor. We need it to kind of fuel all of our ideas in the morning to go into surgery. You kind of need that adrenaline rush. But if that's still going on at 10 o'clock at night, you're screwed.
Yeah.
And then if you look at your sleep diagnostics, I like Oura rings. I'm not wearing mine. Yeah. Do you guys wear the Oura?
I wear it at night.
Oh, good. You guys do. So I love tracking. I'm obsessed with tracking devices.
Yes.
I'm very into weirdo diagnostics. But I would look at, oh my God, I'm not seeing that you're going into deep sleep. You're into this very light alpha sleep for way too long in your cycle. And you're not getting that growth hormone and that reparative and restorative sleep. Therefore, I can bet you $1, I'm not going to bet more, that if I look at your metabolic profile, that your fasting insulin might be a little bit too high, right? That you may be carrying a little bit more weight around here than you want to. He's going, you look very fit. I'm not throwing you under the bus.
Keep going.
And so I kind of approach it from those diagnostics first, if that makes sense. And then I want to know when you shut your screens off at night, are you giving your nervous system and that cortisol production to translate it into your melatonin? And we need melatonin to sleep. If we don't have melatonin, we're screwed. And I've experienced that because I wasn't producing my own melatonin. And I had to discover that after 6 years of testing.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, this is what it is.
So you evaluate with labs, you look at them and maybe look at some energy levels and kind of decide where you're going to go from there.
Yes.
And then you pick and choose from that moment onward, kind of a whole lifestyle change, right?
It is a lifestyle change. It's not just food. Food is this much of it. Because we all know what to eat. Do we not know at this point in time? Food, I mean,
Sure.
food
It's jammed down our throats at this point.
It is. And I also don't like extremism because I'm prone to extremism. And I used to have a huge eating disorder practice and tons of young kids. And also the pre-diabetic numbers now just came in. 1 in 4 young adults are pre-diabetic.
Wow. That's a big number.
It's huge.
Jeez.
It's huge.
Ozempic and Mounjaro are going to go through the roof now. Now
Right.
Zepbound came out with a new dose, by the way.
Yeah,
It's crazy. Yeah.
I heard. And again, I won't get into that topic, but I want to go back to something so when someone comes in addition, I don't see anyone without a full blood panel. I have them go back. They'll send me like their original labs, they know, go back, find another doctor. I work with a lot of different functional medicine doctors. I work with an integrative gynecologist, and I work with an integrative cardiologist. And we work together. I like teams. I don't think a medicine exists in a silo. I think we all need to collaborate.
Now you can add integrative plastic surgeons.
Yeah, seriously. Listen,
well, definitely from the longevity standpoint,
yes.
we have a longevity center in Cabo San Lucas, and
you do?
we provide
Just built it,
stem cell and exosome and gene editing
Obsessed with all that.
And, yes.
So that's what I want to talk to you guys about.
We recently did a podcast on what's called therapeutic plasma exchange. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Yes, I actually
but
have.
we do that here in this office, and we find that to be really a great reset in a sense.
When someone asked me, like, so what do you see going forward? What are you interested in? That's the area. I'm from a cosmetic standpoint, but the first thing I'm interested in is circadian resets. How can I reset your circadian system so you don't have the blood sugar spike every time you eat something remotely sweet, with not enough fiber, with not enough protein? I want to make sure that you're stable throughout the day, because if you're stable, you're not going to have the spikes. Your adrenaline and your dopamine and all the hormones that feel good and also energize you are going to happen at the right time. I don't know about both of you, but can you wind down easily at night? Do you just collapse because you're so exhausted, or do you just kind of spin?
I pass out pretty easy.
Yeah, you pass out?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Sometimes my mind's racing, and so it's hard to power down, and then there are other nights where I'm just exhausted from the day.
So one other device that I use a lot is the Juve light, and the red light and the mitochondrial repair. So it's the mixture of red and near infrared, and I literally sit with the pituitary gland, pineal gland, and before I go to bed, I sit in front of that for 10 minutes, and I'm out. Otherwise, it takes me an hour and 20 minutes. So I have to do all of my biohacking, otherwise everything doesn't function. And because I have this neurological condition that I briefly mentioned, I can't go under anesthesia. So I got to keep all this. So give me all those. Give me all those excess.
You don't need anything.
Give me all those
That's a
excess.
good part. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you see me, you get my labs, you do everything, and then you set me up for this kind of journey, right?
Yes.
And how often do I see you, and how does that work in the sense that, like, do you make the meals for me?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So I have a chef placement company. So what I realized is that I would give everyone a program. They would go away, come back, nothing had changed. I'm like, wait. They said, too lazy, can't cook it, too much work. No, I don't want to do this.
Right.
So the missing link was the food. So I used to do the food out of my kitchen before I remodeled it. It was this big. It was ridiculous. I had 2 people helping me, but now I have a team. I have some extraordinary chefs, and we do some of the nuttiest things. I mean, some crazy stuff. We, first of all, source everything from the farmer's market. We make our own foods, herbs, and spices, and elixirs, and turmeric. I mean, we're like chemists in the kitchen. Wow. I have turned all that over to my chefs. They make it, they deliver. So I have one medicinal meal delivery service that goes out on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then I have a chef placement company. I place chefs all over, either long-term with families or short-term. The difference with my business is that it's totally flexible. If you were to say, I've got a client that's recovering from plastic surgery, and I have many of those, by the way, and they need some healthy anti-inflammatory food, what can you give them? We deliver. And that's what I'm doing actually right now with 3 people that didn't come to see you. I'll have to yell at them for not seeing you. I don't remember the name of the doctor. But so we deliver the food Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we don't use, of course, no plastics, no tin foils. Everything is recyclable. Everything's out of glass.
I've got so many things going in my mind right now.
Yes.
I'm like, all of our patients are coming to you, especially.
No, the food, can I just say, I just have to tout the food because I am a foodie. I train chefs, and I train chefs for the hotel group I work with. And it's really about the ingredients and the blending of the ingredients. Like, for example, if you add just honey to yogurt, you increase the probiotics exponentially. Just like little things that people don't know, they eat it.
Sure.
But if you knew that, you would do it. That's
Absolutely.
the difference.
Right.
So I try to educate. So for you, how do you kind of extricate yourself from me? Well, I check in. I'm really nudgy. After you go away, I'm checking in, I'm calling, I'm texting. I'm super old-fashioned.
That's great.
I pick up a phone. Go
New
figure.
concept.
I pick up a phone because I want you to pick up and
Sure.
say, oh, shit, I didn't get to the gym.
Yep.
Because you have to work out every day. You have to do something. Exercise. If you listen to Dr. Peter Attia or Andrew Huberman, exercise, no caffeine, no alcohol, boring. But exercising is a game changer. The kind of exercise is a game changer, but consistency. If you're consistent on my plan, and again, I don't want to put weeks or numbers, it just works.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's lifestyle. It's not like, okay, I'm going to get off this and then I'm going back to my old ways. It's like, this is how I'm living my life.
Yeah, it transforms.
What you just said is really interesting, the yogurt and honey thing.
Sorry.
We throw a couple more of those at us?
Yeah. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. So turmeric. So we we have a client that just had a weird thing happen with a Mohs surgery. They had to make a scar. It went up into her nasal. She had a nose job. And while she was at, the might as well comment. While she was under, she might as well do the neck.
Yeah, of course,
and
of
do a
course.
little tuck here and maybe an eye lift. And
We love the might as well.
The might as well. You got to love that.
Yeah.
And she said, I can't eat the first week. I've got to have a full liquid. Okay, great, no problem. So we make these elixirs out of fresh ground turmeric.
Awesome.
7 times stronger than vitamin C. Anti-inflammatory beyond. And so we mix that. You can get them at Creation, but you can't get them with Manuka honey.
Oh, wow, okay.
You know about Manuka honey.
Yes, definitely.
And my Manuka honey is from my trip to New Zealand. So the sourcing, when people go, oh, you're so expensive. I said, it's not food that you can get.
Right.
If you go to the farmer's market, you can get some of it.
Sure.
But we're curating every single ingredient. We don't use bottled herbs and spices because they're moldy. They attract mold. So we just dry them. It's so easy, not for everyone, but we dry our herbs and we blend them. And if you blend certain herbs, like a basil with a thyme is anti-inflammatory and antibacterial. So we used, during COVID, my business went like that.
Yeah, of course.
Nice, yeah.
I was like, wow, I had no idea.
It's funny, ours did too, but they all
Yeah.
look like bigger butts.
Did you have, was it good during COVID for you guys?
After the first 3 months where we were shut down, then everyone wanted bigger boobs and bigger butts.
Yeah.
I don't know why, because they're all home.
Yeah.
going
I don't get the butt thing.
We still don't either.
Yeah, I just don't
Now
get
it's
it.
reversing.
Now we're
Thank
changing.
God,
Now it's going
because
making them
yeah,
smaller.
Thank God. That makes
Yeah.
me, that makes me
Now
happy.
there's something called the Ozempic butt.
Yeah.
Like, how about the Ozempic face?
Yeah, that too.
Yep.
That's good for your business.
The interesting part of we're talking about all these mixes of food. So in your book, Vibrant Skin at Any
Yes.
Age, we talk about such a strong connection between the gut and the brain.
Yes.
And gut and skin.
Yes.
Right? And so when we look, tell us a little more about that. How can there be such a strong connection and what foods can really help us and all the listeners say, all right, listen, maybe if I add this to my diet, these 2 or 3 things, maybe it'll help.
So I wrote this book. So this is me with red hair. Too hard to maintain. Scientists discovered this bi-directional relationship between the gut and the skin. Now it's the gut, skin, the brain. So we know our skin is one of our largest organs of absorption. And so what makes up that skin that we need to stay healthy and with elasticity? Collagen, the collagen. So the foods that I identify are foods high in collagen. And some of them may surprise you and things you may not eat. Are you kosher?
No.
Okay. The skin of a chicken has type 2 collagen. I love the skin of the chicken.
Especially if you're having wings.
Don't you? Not if they're deep fried bad seed oil.
Yeah.
No.
Air fryer.
Do you have an air fryer?
Yeah, I do.
Game changer.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're so healthy.
Yes.
I just don't like the way they smell. There's like a weird funky smell to an air fryer, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I hear you. Yeah, I'm a traditionalist, so don't ask me about it. I just know my kids use them and they love them.
Yeah.
It's the ease, right? So the other foods that I really like to talk about are type 1 collagen, type 2 collagen, type 1 and 3 collagen. Those foods are the following. Bone broth. Do you guys have bone broth?
Yes.
Yeah, my wife's a big fan.
We use a lot.
Yes, and so is your sister. Bone broth is something that I brought into my practice probably at this time because like some injuries from yoga, overextending everything. I do so my chef, for example, we do a 72-hour bone broth with turmeric. So these are all the anti-inflammatories. Turmeric, ginger, cardamom pods. And we also put in it, which is kind of a weird thing, a lot of citrus. Citrus increases the content of the collagen. This is how it all works. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. The cofactors. And again, I said fish. I didn't say the fish yet. Fish is problematic because of the high mercury content.
level.
We've totally screwed our waterways. So we have to go with the smash fish, the salmon, the mackerel, the anchovies, the sardines. I personally
Love them all.
yuck, a lot of it yuck. I do like sardines, by the way. But
Anchovies and sardines.
Yeah,
You gotta get the white sardines. Those are the
those are
delicious
good.
ones, yeah.
Yes, they are good. But I really like, the wild. I still love the wild caught salmon.
Yes.
High
It's
in
funny.
omega.
I don't like the way it
You
tastes.
don't?
No.
Okay,
weird.
I'm gonna show you how to prepare it.
It tastes so. It smells and tastes
Okay.
so fishy to me. that I
So,
just can't do it.
I'm gonna give you my recipe for the plank.
Okay.
You make it on a
Oh,
Oh, the
Yes.
best. The cedar plank. Oh,
That's my most popular recipe on
you
my.
know who makes that really well is that restaurant off of Laurel Canyon. What's it
Which
called?
one? I don't know.
I'm gonna remember this. Pache.
Oh, I don't.
Pache has
I
the
don't-
best cedar salmon in town. If you haven't done it, check it out.
Okay, you guys,
There's
please
my
don't.
plug.
If anyone's watching, please don't call me out on that one. Other foods, cashews.
Love cashews.
Okay,
High in fat.
high in
But good
fat, but also precursors to collagen. Oysters, high in zinc, precursors to collagen. I have a huge list. I could go over like 50 or 60.
Amazing.
So I love these. 30% of our body is made up of collagen. When I saw things starting to move in the wrong direction, I'm just like, I'm throwing it. I'm collagen everywhere. I also use a powdered hydrolyzed collagen, but I make sure it's grass-fed and grass-finished and sourced from someone that I know. So this, again, goes back to this crazy,
Sourcing.
meticulous sourcing, asking all the questions. I have a research assistant that really nags at all of our suppliers. Like, wait, is this third party tested? Is this grass finished 100%?
And notice how she said hydrolyzed too, you guys. You have to make sure hydrolyzed collagen is easier to absorb than just a traditional collagen. So it's
100%.
very important.
100%, that's key. So I usually tell my clients, so when they're coming, also the other thing that the collagen does, it starts to build healthy gut microbiome. It's really good for the gut. So everything kind of multi-purpose, multifactorial, all works together. So those are some of the foods that I like to focus on. In my diet, again, I could say, what's the key? Oh, it's an unprocessed, I think that's all boring. We all know. Do we all know not to eat processed foods?
Definitely.
Yes.
Do you guys eat processed foods?
Try to eat everything that's.
No, try to eliminate from our kids'
Yeah,
diets. And,
the
you know,
kids.
it's amazing.
Do you guys
It's
both
so-
have young kids, I bet, right?
Mine are younger, yes.
Yeah. How old are your kids?
I have twin boys that are 8 and a little girl that's almost 7.
Oh, cute. I remember those days. And you have babies.
3-year-old tomorrow
Oh my
and
God.
a 7-month-old.
Oh my God. All right. So you guys can do it. You can be the game changers.
The problem is you can do so much, but then they're at school. Like, for example,
School's
like,
crucial.
school sent out a menu, and my wife was like, "You're feeding them soy burgers?
Oh, no,
it's like
please,
the worst thing you can
please.
give."
Do not
so she
give your
like actually
children's-
was like, "This is ridiculous. It's so highly inflammatory." So you can do so much,
Yes.
but they're not you're not controlling them the
Yes.
whole time. So
That's
yeah.
awful. So I consulted for a school called St. Margaret's in beautiful school. We did an organic garden. They outlaw soy products and they outlaw any processed
Where's this
foods.
school?
I think it's San Luis Obispo. Do you want to go down
It's a
there?
little- It's a little too far.
But, I sent my kids for early childhood, we did First Presbyterian and we're Jewish because I could control the food.
Well, that's interesting.
I've worked with a lot of schools, by the way, to kind of
That's
say
cool.
this is,
That's great.
and also educating the parents, because the parents for sports, I was the mom that brought the oranges and the hummus and and the homemade crackers. Not popular.
Yeah.
Not well liked.
Yeah, it's so crazy. I mean, everybody with the Gatorades and the dyes.
honestly,
and the,
it drives me crazy.
and
Yeah.
Prime. I mean, these kids that are rolling around with this Prime and these energy drinks and stuff like that. I'm
so
thinking,
Yeah.
We are in
Well, I
trouble.
love what you're doing and how you're raising your kids. If I could do anything, I'd like to work in that childhood obesity number. It's going through the roof. And what that leads to, as we know, is cancer down the road,
definitely.
Oh, for sure.
Any metabolic syndrome,
heart attack down the road.
right.
So, but we don't see down the road.
The nutrition aspect of it, I see. Do you also use, because I heard you bring up the word biohacking. Now, what type of biohacking do you do for yourself? And also, what supplements do you take? And what supplements do you recommend for your clients to take? Because again, there's just so much information out there nowadays. It's to a point where you can, do it in a way that's kind of detrimental, because you can be taking so many different things that you don't even know what you're putting in your system. So from an expert, what do you take yourself? And also, what about others?
So that's such a loaded question. What I take for myself has changed throughout my life. And a lot of it is based on testing in labs. I really like to be scientific when it comes to that. There's a test called the Nutri-Eval, and I then can see if a lot of people don't want to spend the money on it, right? But what I can see from that, oh my God, you're low in B12. I mean, I can see that on your standard labs. What I can see on your labs that I order or have you order, actually, I can see your vitamin D, I can see your B12, I can see your ferritin, I can see your essential fatty acids. Like, for example, I don't eat any seed oils.
Phenomenal.
I've eliminated all seed oils. My seed oils used to be off the charts. And I thought, how?
It's tough.
Because it's in everything.
Seed oils are in everything.
The finest restaurants.
Yes.
So you'll never want to go to a nice restaurant with me. You'll
But
be
they're
mortified.
in everything. They're like, that's the only
They
problem.
cook with it. So restaurants will cook with a combo of canola oil and a grapeseed, or a butter, and they'll mix those oils. And when you're getting those seed oils, your inflammatory markers, your 6s to 3s, you want those ratios to be pretty close, your 3s, your omega-3s, you want those to be in line. You're like 1 to 14. So when I go into a restaurant, I cook in butter. Give me real food.
Sure.
Real oils.
Tallow.
I found a really good beef tallow, by the way. I'll send you the picture.
Ooh, I like it.
So good. So I cook in some of those weird things. But back to your question. For me, what I do, again, has changed throughout the course, the life cycles and hormonal cycles for sure. My focus now is my mitochondria. I'm very into my mitochondria. And I support that externally and internally. So the way I do, I'll talk about the external. I do that light, I do it on my thyroid here because I've had Hashimoto's. So I'm on a half a grain of thyroid. I used to be on 3. And that's from light and diet. All of my inflammatory markers for my ANA panel. Do you guys know what the ANA panel? Sure. I had mixed connective tissue disease, which is the breaking down of your freaking collagen.
Yep.
I was totally freaked out. That has reversed. So mitochondria, ages and stages, right? But if I were to see, I'll tell you about me. Let me just take you for example. If I were to see on your blood work, and then we did some kind of a panel where I saw kind of what your micro and macronutrients look like, what vitamins you're deficient in. It's a multi-men's health vitamin from a company that's NSF certified. You want that third-party certification. Otherwise, there's so much shit out there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's so much junk.
True. So true.
I do love a great greens powder, but one that has been tested for heavy metals. So we all know about I'm not going to tout anyone, but there's many greens powders, and some of them, we just found out, contain heavy metals.
Wow.
And I'm like, here I'm taking this every day.
Counterintuitive, right?
So excited I'm getting all my greens in, but they have heavy metals. But I do like a great greens powder. Spirulina is incredible for detoxification. And again, detoxification, methylation pathways, opening up that system to cleanse the liver.
Sure.
That supports so many other biological functions. A great men's health vitamin. Again, I like Pure Encapsulations. I like Thorn Labs. There's a lot of good companies. I also, again, there's a product called, I shouldn't be touting, but it's okay. I can do this, right?
Of course you can.
Because I don't get anything for it.
Yeah,
I'm
listen.
stupid.
Listen, our viewers
Like, what
and
did I do
listeners want to
wrong?
know.
So MitoPure, urolithin A.
Urolithin A, I take it.
I am obsessed with urolithin A. Because I'm on a medication for seizure disorder, I'm freaking exhausted by noon. Like I would be and then I'll be if I didn't take it, I'd be sleeping on the sofa. I just go like this. Okay, goodbye guys. Urolithin A is so good because it supports mitophagy, which cleanses out the old mitochondria. Are you still with me on this?
I'm totally
Okay. Sorry, I don't. Sometimes I don't.
He's taking all these things.
People look at my book. People look at me like, what are you talking about?
No.
And
The mitophagy is huge
it's
because
huge.
it allows for the formation of new mitochondria. That's a different ballgame than just taking NMN or NAD
Different
or NR,
ballgame.
right?
I just ordered a new product called Regeneramax which is an NAD, because I stopped doing NAD, and I always give every supplement a 90-day trial because it takes 90 days to turn over our cells. And I see, am I experiencing anything? But okay, I'll go to vitamin D. Everyone needs to be on vitamin D, unless your
How
levels.
much you take?
I personally just saw in my labs, because I play pickleball 5 days a week, my vitamin D levels went sky. I was at 90. Isn't that crazy? And I used to be at 30.
Wow.
And what's the dose you take of vitamin D?
I take 5,000 a day.
5,000.
See, I take 50,000 a day.
A day?
A day.
What's your number?
Wow.
Let me see
Check.
it.
I have it.
Send it
no,
to
but
me.
it's normal. You know who told me to take that? Sorum Khalsa.
Oh, he died.
Yes,
Did you
I
hear?
know.
He was my friend.
Oh, yeah.
Khalsa told me that people are taking 5,000 a day is not enough. Take 50,000 a day.
Well,
so forever I've taken 50,000
yeah,
a day, and it's been
yeah,
fine for me.
Yeah,
I take a D3K2.
But, yeah.
You have to take it with K2.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you don't get the calcium to the bones, and you don't absorb the good D.
Right.
50,000. I'm not going to comment on that. That just feels too high
Yeah.
for me, unless you
I
need
have my
it.
labs. I'll show you.
Unless you
but
need
it's funny
it.
because most people I know that take 5,000 a day still come up with a deficiency,
Yeah.
which is interesting.
What about what's yours? What's your D3?
I don't know my level. In
Okay.
fact, I'm due for labs soon.
Who's your
He's
doctor?
normally really tan.
Well, the funny part is I usually
don't-
order my own. A lot of times I order my own labs and biomarkers
Yeah,
and
we
things
do it
like
all
that.
ourselves.
So
Oh, yeah, of course you do.
yeah.
Of course you do.
We just go
Perfect.
upstairs, give blood, and
Oh,
we get it
easy.
back.
I want to be you guys. That's lifetime. I want to be
It
you
makes
guys.
it easy.
Yeah. I should be doing it
Yeah.
once a month.
Well, it looks like you probably did get. I can tell by your skin. You probably really do well with sun, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and I just freckle and get skin cancer, so no. yeah, for me it doesn't. But I do, again, I'd love to see your labs. Vitamin D is essential. B12 for me, I'm low in B12. Again, I saw that on labs. I also...
You have to get that by injection, though, right?
No, I don't. I don't.
Yeah, you can take it orally. You just have to take it every
You
single
just
day.
have to take it every day. I used to only do orally,
Yeah.
but then I got lazy. The other things I take are... Oh my God, there's so many in my things.
And what was the company again that you used for your labs and biomarkers?
I use Quest.
Quest?
No, but you said
there was a different panel.
There was like
Oh,
a panel.
that's the Nutra-Eval.
Nutri-Eval.
Yes,
Nutri-Eval.
Nutri-Eval. And again, you just see, what are you simulating? Because that's what I want to know. I want to throw out half this stuff. When you ask me how many I've got, literally, if you open my vitamin pantry, you'd be appalled. It's overflowing.
It looks like the...
and I kind of...
Hence your
GNC.
friend. Hence
Looks
your
like
friend
GNC.
Sorum Khalsa.
Yeah.
That guy was he had more.
Yes, I know, but
We used to actually share an office with him.
Yeah, I did.
God bless his soul.
I did, God bless his soul. I did a conference with him, and he yelled at me for eating fish, and it was just not good. And at any rate, so supplements I think are very bio-individual. I could tell you again, what my kid takes is totally different than what another kid takes. The deficiencies, though, I'm seeing in children, it's pretty crazy. It's vitamin D.
It's known. It's a known fact.
Yeah,
and it's
really low, like 20 on the labs.
You know, they say that you should start giving an infant
Yes.
drops of vitamin D.
Yes, that's
Because they're
absolutely true.
so deficient in vitamin D.
Absolutely true.
And even in California, people that are out and sunny, we still are deficient in vitamin D. So
yep.
it's very necessary.
Yeah,
So I agree.
absolutely. I think it's one of the most important.
So do you think that's probably the most important single supplement that you should take?
Yes, I do love fish oil, but I have a source for fish oil from Adapt Naturals because he does all of the testing for mercury. And he also puts it with, again, this compounding thing I've been talking about. He mixes it with black seed oil. And the black seed oil, they work synergistically to promote such a high anti-inflammatory response in the blood. I mean, obviously, like a patient going in to see you can't be on that product
Sure.
at all, nor can they be on turmeric.
Yes,
Right.
of
So I
course.
know all those protocols because I work with a lot of people with their food. So I do love that product because I literally have I play I'm not that competitive, but I'm pretty rigorous on the pickleball court and I work out with weights. That saves me. That anti-inflammation coming from that particular product saves me.
That's great. That's good to know.
Yeah. So I do like that. I don't take vitamin C anymore. I try to eat it.
My wife started this thing where every single morning she creates a drink of whole lemon, but she just takes the yellow off, leaves the white of the peel,
Nice.
ginger root, fresh ginger root, and then Manuka honey, and then you blend it. And all the kids get it. I get it.
That's great.
Yeah, every single morning.
I'm coming over.
Amazing. And again, that goes into cleanse packages. So on my bio, it said I do cleanses, but my dear, dear friend, Alyssa Goodman, I love her so much.
Yeah.
I just said, you do the cleanses. I got to get into this other weird stuff.
No, that's great. It's kind of going back to something you said and now that I've got these light bulbs going off in my head. For our patients, for people that are having surgery with us and they want to get in touch with you, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
I'll give you my phone number. Call me.
Okay.
I pick up a phone or text
we'll,
me, call me. I mean,
we'll just put it in our packet.
Yes, I have not. You don't have to send an email.
I have
with
your
all
phone
these,
number.
I'm very accessible. Because
it's really great because for a lot of these patients that they want something that's going to kind of help them for the recovery period.
Yes.
And it's wonderful to have someone guide them through it. And after, a lot of the patients that I operate on have stubborn fat that they can't get rid of, and I'll do liposuction on them. But they need, and I always tell them, I'm like, you need to maintain. I can sculpt your body, but if you go back to your previous habits, it's not going to help. So people like you that can come in can really, really help that. And I think that would be amazing.
That's so important. We do a lot of pre-op. The pre-op is just as important to prepare for surgery.
Absolutely.
Right? And then the post-op, again, it's working with the foods that if we can't introduce right away, a fish oil to change, don't add the fish, stay liquid because of esophagus and all that.
Yeah, we again, after a facelift, sometimes we use blander diets, just reduces the salt. We want to reduce citrus because it stimulates saliva production, and sometimes we have to take the submandibular glands and all kinds of different things that go into it. It's to get a truly great result, it's much more complex than just I'm going to have surgery and then I'm going to be completely fine.
Right,
so
exactly.
Is there a website that you would recommend for more information?
My website is Lauren Living Healthy, and my Instagram is Lauren Radshap.
We know you're busy.
Thank you.
We really appreciate your time here. I've learned a ton, and I'm hoping, and I know that our viewers and listeners have as well.
Thank you.
We hope to have you back when, as we learn even more.
After I come see you and you start me on this health and wellness.
Yeah, exactly. I still want the energy reading. And
he takes like 30 supplements a day. I take 3. So I have to maybe up my game.
What do you take?
DHA, EPA. I take that. I take a calcium supplement. I do a L-arginine. I do a little bit of berberine.
Yep.
And then I do my D3K2, and I take 2 little moringa gummies, and then my wife makes that drink. And the MitoPure, sorry.
Yeah, I'm a big berberine person. Alyssa and I are both big berberines. But there's new research out saying that it does disturb the gut microflora.
The latest research on berberine says that you should give your body a break. So you should take it for 3 months.
Cycle
off
so
of it.
cycle with berberine, I think that's the best.
Yes.
And if you're going to do it, you should always check your fasting glucose when you're off of it.
Yeah.
Because you should see if you're maintaining it. It's interesting. I take berberine as well. I think it's fantastic. It's a great supplement. The problem is, I think what happens is it can actually lead to some glucose resistance, and so I think you need to kind of cycle it, just like everything.
I agree.
I like drinking a lot of tequila and then not for a while. So it's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
For longevity purposes,
just
of course.
For longevity.
So if you had to cut out one thing out of your diet, that was a question that I was supposed to have, but what would you say?
You mean a food source out of my diet? If I had to cut one thing out, that's a tough one. I can't cut out red meat.
Yeah.
I just can't.
No, don't need to.
And I can't. I'm a Wisconsin boy, so it's really hard to
I'm a
remove.
Minneapolis girl.
I sensed it.
Yeah.
I can't, remove dairy and I know I should. So maybe I switch over to kefir or to
but what about
whole
raw
milk.
Dairy and goat dairy?
Raw dairy. Now, listen, I'm in. I think there are certain vegetables that I'm supposed to remove. So maybe nightshades or...
To me, it's tough. Like,
you
take
tell me.
tomatoes
What should
I was just going to say sugar. Simple
sugar, yes.
Refined sugar.
Yes. I'm not as real...
But unfortunately, it's everywhere, so it's hard.
I use honey. I'm not a huge... I'm not a sweets guy, so
You're very lucky.
I'm savory.
Yeah, I think neither one of us are.
Yeah.
My whole family, my sister isn't either. We're not... Much rather have something
You're savory.
salty.
You're savory guys?
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm a savory girl. But I do like a good margarita. And I love red wine, but I only drink on the weekends, 1 glass Friday night, 1 glass Saturday night. I never drink during the week.
The red wine has gone to minimum.
That's
But the red wine has gone to minimum for me too. I
You
just
too.
too
So
much
what
of a
is
headache.
what is your drink?
I'd rather drink just straight tequila.
Straight tequila. What
Or,
about you?
you know,
I'm a wine
duty.
drinker, but I'm tequila if I'm gonna have a cocktail, but
Yeah.
otherwise I'm a wine drinker, and I do not, during the week if I have a glass,
Yeah.
maybe once.
and during the week we don't ever drink because
Yeah.
we're working. So we just overdo it on the weekends.
Yeah.
Totally kidding.
And the next thing is seed oils.
Seed oils for sure.
Yeah.
That's
The problem
it.
is a lot of them are buried in places that you don't know. So that's the problem with
Yes.
seed oils.
Right.
It's so,
Right.
I feel so badly for the kids because it's in every single thing. And they say organic and all these things for kids. And then you'll look and it'll say sunflower, oil or vegetable oil or some canola oil. And you're like, how can these be?
It's in everything processed.
Right.
Sunflower, lecithin, soy lecithin. It's all their emulsifiers and their additives. But I think that also changes that metabolic profile of the young kids. And that's what's also leading to those high numbers in prediabetes in the young peeps. So
Absolutely.
So listen, you heard it here first. You can eliminate those things. Processed sugars for sure. Seed oils definitely eliminate. And that's a great start. And then moderation with everything else. If you like this video, you're going to love this one.
It was like Nick Jonas or one of the Jonas Brothers was the first guy to see like what athletic training looked like. And he was like, yo, I need to do that. I'm getting ready for a film. A lot of people get it twisted where it's like a 6-pack and just being jacked is the answer when it's like, that's so far from the truth.